Hi, my name is Faraz Abbasi, and it's with great pleasure that I welcome you to my new show, T.I.O. Now, you may be wondering, what does T.I.O. stand for, and who exactly is Faraz Abbasi? So, let me tell you a little bit about myself. Faraz Abbasi is a 24-year-old student who goes to California State University Dominguez Hills and is currently majoring in public relations and advertising. So what sets me apart from others is that my way of thinking is completely unique and extremely different from, let's say, your average Joe. I question everything and pretty much am a guy who is all about unpopular opinions. I don't do this intentionally, it just happens to be like that. So for this podcast titled T.I.O., I wanted to start something new to interview people that are like me, who do things that are not normal or that go against the societal standards and societal norms. So we've talked a little bit and you're probably still wondering, what does T.I.O. mean? So T.I.O. stands for the interesting ones. And for this show, I'm going to be interviewing people on a monthly basis, and I'm going to talk to them about what makes them unique, what they do that sets them apart from others, and what makes them interesting in my eyes and maybe in everyone else's eyes. So for the first episode of T.I.O., also known as the interesting ones, I decided to talk to someone who shares a very similar passion to mine, traveling. So the person I'm going to be interviewing is Austin Misset, a guy who's been to over 86 countries in all 7 continents. Austin's been traveling for over 10 years by himself now, which is absolutely unique in my opinion, and I'm sure unique in other people's opinion as well. I chose Austin because traveling is also one of my main passions in life, but I travel around with my girlfriend, so not that unique. So talking to someone who travels the world alone and has been doing it for over 10 years was a very, very enlightening experience. So for the first question, I asked Austin, how did it all begin for you? How did you begin traveling alone? And here's what he had to say.
I just dropped out of college. I was working a normal, pretty good paying job in an office, but I was also getting super fat and depressed, and one day I just saw myself eating a Baconator cheeseburger in my computer monitor, and I was like, what the hell am I doing with my life? I'm only 19, I need to get out and do something, and I just found a cheap ticket to go to Sweden, and I booked it, and while I was there, I discovered couch surfing, so I was able to stay with local people for free, and they'd show me around. I could live life like a local, so I wasn't I had this idea that I was going to have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to go somewhere for just a month. And when I got there, it changed everything. I met this girl that I stayed with on couchsurfing for 2 weeks. She had 18 people staying at her house at the same time. We had people sleeping on the floor, in the bathtub, in the closet. And it was just awesome. And it just changed my whole outlook. And instead of having a month's trip, it's turned into it's been 10 years since last December.
What an inspirational beginning for Austin and his journey into traveling alone. It really makes you think, if more people realized when they are getting fat or obese like Austin did, and he questioned himself, what the hell am I doing here? It wouldn't be great if more people thought like that, if you could have more Austins in the world who just saw that they were on a downward decline and decided to just take a huge step forward to improve their life and just go on not necessarily a journey even, you don't have to go traveling, but it'd just be amazing if more people caught themselves in the downward spiral and just found a way to revive themselves. And another interesting point that Austin made is that couchsurfing, most people think that, like Austin says, traveling around the world is expensive. It's gonna cost so much money. I can't do it because I'm a student or I'm in school. That's just such a toxic way of thinking, because all it takes is one Google search and you'll find out how easily it is to travel the world. It's not an expensive task like most people assume, and anyone can really do it if they really put their mind to it and want to spend time researching on how to travel for cheap. So for the next question, I asked Austin why he does it alone. I mean, you could have always done it with a friend, but you decided to do it alone. So how did this happen?
Yeah, I was saying that I didn't want to go by myself initially. I wanted to go, but I had a lot of friends who said that they'd like to go, and when it came down to planning anything, it was always, oh no, dude, next time, I can't do it this time because blah blah blah. And it just got to the point where I realized that if I waited for other people, I'd be waiting forever. So I just had to take the initiative to go out on my own.
As you got to hear, Austin realized that if he waits for other people, he's never going to go and see the world. It's a very inspirational way of thinking because in current days, everyone just wants to be in a group. Everyone is just so scared of being by themselves. If more people were like Austin and realized that, hey, they can go see the world alone, they can just step out of their comfort zone and take on their goals and obstacles by themselves. You don't always have to have a partner. And if you're always going to be waiting for a partner, you're going to be waiting forever. So that's a very inspirational point to take from Austin. I'm very happy to hear this answer. So for my next question, I asked Austin, how do you make your money when you're at these new places? I've always wondered, when I have heard of people who backpack and travel around the world, but I always question, how are you guys making money while you're overseas? Or do you just come from rich families or stuff like that? So here's what Austin had to say about his ways of making money.
I find a lot of jobs while I'm abroad, I've done a lot of stuff. I've done everything from, a receptionist at a hostel to a boat captain in Cambodia. I ran a swinger club in Siberia. I was selling antiques in Indonesia. I just, whatever I can stumble upon.
Quite an interesting person, if I must say so myself. All from captaining a boat in Cambodia and running a swinger club in Siberia. I'm very glad I got to speak to Austin as my first episode for this show because it just goes to show all the things that you could do in the rest of the world, so many possibilities. You don't have to just sit here and work in an office that you just hate so much and just hating life every day, doing a job that you don't love, being in a place that you don't really care about. And then you have people like Austin over here who are being boat captains in Cambodia and just seeing the world, and experiencing crazy different jobs, and they're not locked down to one task every single day, which is just very, very inspirational. I hope some of you that are listening can take one or two key points from this whole episode and just realize that you don't have to follow society standards, or you don't have to follow society norms, basically, because you might end up regretting that way later down the road. So for my next topic of conversation with Austin, I told him that I personally see him as a more enlightened person because he's done so many things. He's been to so many places. He's basically done everything. So in my assumption, I just assumed that he's just better than others and just more enlightened and knows a lot more things. And when I asked him, what do you think makes you enlightened? Or how has the world changed how you are as a person? What life lessons have you learned and what traits have you developed? He had a pretty surprising thing to say back to me, and here's what he had to say.
Well, I just want to preface saying I don't consider myself more enlightened than the next person. I definitely think that I've got different kinds of perspectives just from, being outside of the place that I grew up in, outside my own culture, and being able to understand those things. But I think that the solo travel, for sure, it has made me hone down what's the best parts of myself and to accentuate those more. Because, if I'm not outgoing, if I'm some introverted guy just wearing a backpack at a park, no one's going to want to come talk to me. No one's going to want to, welcome me into their home. No one's going to want to be around me. And a big part of traveling and the experiences you have are the people you meet along the way. Places are all basically the same aside from architecture, but it's the people that make the difference. So if I'm just some asshole with a backpack, no one's gonna my life's not gonna be that great. So I gotta figure out how to be very open-minded, outgoing help. You need to accentuate the good parts of yourself and your personality. And yeah, it's helped me to make friends. I was a little bit more introverted when I was younger, and when you're only in a place for a certain, you have a shorter amount of time, it helps you if you can accelerate the process of building relationships with people, cutting past all the bullshit, cutting past all the walls. I mean, it's good in a way, but it's also sad in a way. I can say this, that I've got friends that I only knew for 2 weeks that I'm closer with than people that I've known, 15 years, 25 years in my life. I've got friends that, like, whenever I come back to visit California, I come back about once a year for about a month or so, and I've got friends here that, live in, like 35 minutes away in a different city that I haven't seen the entire time I'm back here. And at the same time, I've got friends from Hungary that have flown all the way out to California just to come see me and hang out. So, and that's like a person that I only knew for 2 weeks. I was just going to say, I think that the skills and the life lessons that have been taught to me is just to be more open, realize, being able to see things in other people's perspectives, and to be able to cut through your social bullshit. You don't get to make your own social lubricant, if that makes sense.
I'm not going to repeat everything that Austin said, but the most important key point to take from all of this is his first statement. He doesn't consider himself more enlightened than the other. That says a lot about a person, when you've experienced so many things, done so many things around the world. It's amazing to see that Austin isn't so self-centered, I should say, or just like thinks he's better than others. It's very, very refreshing to hear that from me. And you also got to hear from him that his friends from the rest of the world are better than the ones he has in California. I talked to him a little bit more about that, and I told him my personal experience. I was born in another country, and I was raised there as well, and then when I came to America, I still had the lessons I learned in my home country of Pakistan, and the way we are raised over there is just so completely different than the way people are raised in America, or California to be specific. I just see that there's more of like respect and hospitality in the rest of the world compared to America, and actually California in specific. And then Austin and I talked about this a little bit more, and we were able to narrow it down that it might just be even a Southern California, Northern California. It just might be a California thing where people are just so entitled and are just so fast-paced and don't cherish friendships whatsoever. So for our next conversation, I asked Austin about his love life. Interesting topic, right? Because to me, I've been in a relationship for 7 years, and I can't imagine a life without my girlfriend. And Austin has been traveling the world for over 10 years, and being to have visited over 80 countries, I can't imagine how you can maintain a stable love life. So when I asked Austin about his love life, here's what he had to say.
It's absolutely not a priority. It's difficult, I don't want to, I've always said, like, when I meet a girl, I don't want to uproot them from something, and, I don't want to take a girl out of her life and, like, come join me on this, and I also don't want a girl that's wanting to make me fucking plant my roots. So it's difficult to find, at least in my experience, find girls that are living a similar lifestyle that don't have some kind of substance abuse problem. Myself, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, never have. And I don't have an issue with people who do, but a lot of people with this lifestyle tend to have it's not just that they smoke weed or drink a little bit. A lot of people women in particular, tend to have some kind of substance abuse issue. And I don't know why, but it's been tough. And actually, I've been in an open relationship with a woman in Russia for probably the last 5 years now. And it's like, when we're together, we're together. When we're apart. She's joined me on a few trips, but for the most part, it's still on my own. Until you love yourself, until your heart is overflowing with love for yourself, until you have a surplus, then you don't have any to give to somebody else. You gotta work on yourself, be able to love yourself for everything, and then you can share that. That's my opinion, at least. So I'm not looking to settle down anytime soon, and I'm not closed off to the idea, but I'm just not looking.
Ah yes, life's most important lesson. You gotta love yourself first before you love someone else. It's just how basic love goes, love 101. I feel like if more people followed this rule, we would have less breakups, less divorces, just less negativity in general. So I hope you guys have been enjoying my interview with Austin so far. And for my last question, I asked him, hey Austin, you've traveled to all 7 continents. You've seen everything there is to see in the world. But let me ask you this. Would you do it all over again, but this time with a partner perhaps? Here's what he had to say.
It would take the right partner. Because I've been some places with a friend. I've had a friend come out to South America with me for 3 months, and we almost beat the shit out of each other a few times. But we're still friends, and I've gone with people who I was romantically entangled with, and for some of them it was good. For some of them it's hell. So if I want to do everything all over again with a partner, it would, it's tough because I like being able to not have to compromise. I get to do exactly what I want to do, and when you have throwing someone else in the mix. If I had the right partner, then why not? I mean, it's a shared experience. That's what I believe brings people closer together than anything is a shared experience. That's why old POW war buddies are still super close to this day. They went through something of extreme turmoil together, and it brings them closer together. If you go through some hardship, along the way, which with traveling for sure you're going to come across some, then that's going to make you close. Like I had this Polish girl I was seeing for a while. About 5 years ago, we went to Sri Lanka for a month, and it was awful. It was hell. And we just, every day was a fucking struggle, and it was just such a rough thing. It ended up not working out between us, but we're still good friends, and that's like one of the main things that pops up every time we talk. Is like, oh, I remember that time in Sri Lanka, this, blah, blah, blah. It's just something that bonds people together is a shared experience.
Another very, very important tip from Austin. You gotta travel the world with the right person, because traveling with someone who's not a right fit for you can just be such a bad experience. You waste your money, you waste your time, and all for nothing. I personally see traveling as a very enlightening thing, and I hold it very, very dear to my heart. And I personally, myself, cannot see myself traveling with anyone besides my girlfriend. So I hope you guys enjoyed the first episode of T.I.O, the interesting ones, and I hope you were able to learn something about a person who does things that are not ordinary, because traveling alone isn't something that everyone does, and traveling alone is something that people might even look down upon. They're like, oh, why are you putting yourself in such dangerous situations and whatnot, But I hope you guys were able to get inspired by this story. And I want to say one more time, thank you so much, Austin, for taking your time out of your day to sit down and have a conversation with me and share your amazing story. Thank you for listening. Once again, my name is Faraz Abbasi, and I'll see you next time for episode 2 of The Interesting Ones.